about mornings. How I feel about mornings depends on the time of year and the amount of light. I hate late fall and winter. Aline, would you give us Robert's objectives from your seat?
Sure. It's out of the manual. He's going to do, he's calling it My Back Pages, and he's going to do 3 short pieces for a total of 6 to 8 minutes. He's hoping that he's fluid. He wants to pay attention to how well he is received. He wants to stand up and have good posture despite his inflamed bursa. He wants to make good eye contact, and he would like overall constructive criticism.
Thank you, Aline.
I should have said, as far as the theme, I missed it. No, I don't need the microphone. I should have said my favorite all-time song is Sunday Morning Coming Down. My Back Pages. I was driving home. I had just auditioned for 3 Apples. It was going to be in Bedford. And I was driving home, and the voice said, "You were awful. Everything you did was terrible." I don't think so. I thought I did pretty well. You stunk. You stunk up the stage. There wasn't anything about it that was any... Couldn't you start with a little bit of a sandwich? Couldn't you say something nice? No, there was nothing nice about what you did. I don't even like the story. Excuse me, I bounced the story off of 4 people, and I gave them choices of 5 stories, and everyone picked this one. Yeah, well maybe it's the way you did it that didn't work. I got home, and my wife said, "Well, where's it going to be? Where are you performing, and where's the place, and what's the time?" I said, I was wrong. It was just an audition I was chosen for. And I had to audition, and I'm going to find out, they say soon, whether I made it to 3 Apples. Whoa, what does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to sit here until the phone rings. Excuse me, I'm very hungry, and there's no food in the house. I really want to go out to eat. Excuse me, miss. I saw some crackers. And I saw some wine. And we're staying here, we're sitting next to the phone until that phone rings. And it's supposed to ring soon. What is soon? My wife said again. Soon means that we're sitting here until, eating the crackers, until they call. Well, soon came the next day. The crackers were gone. There wasn't much wine left. But I made it! I was going to be one of the speakers at 3 Apples, and Mickey was there. It's true. It's a long time ago. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
My second story is I was chosen to perform for a 10-year-old birthday party for a couple of twins. Well, I got to the house, and there were 20 10-year-olds, the coolest 10-year-olds I ever saw in my life, sitting there. Now, fortunately, I thought I had written the perfect story for 10-year-olds. I found out I was wrong. I went on about fairy godmothers, and I said, "Kids, do you know how long ago fairy godmothers existed?" They didn't seem to be too interested. I said, "Kids, there were no cars." Not a blink. I said, "Kids, there were no planes." Not a blink. I said, "Kids, don't even think that there were computers." There weren't. Not a blink. "Kids, there were no iPhones." Nothing. I said, "Kids, there was practically nothing. There were no baseball, and so there were no hot dogs." Nothing. And then finally I said, there were no hot dogs. Kids, there was no pizza. Well, 20 kids in unison screamed out, no pizza? What did they eat? Did the fairy godmothers know that they could do what my mama does? She takes a piece of toast and puts some red sauce on it and calls it pizza? These were the coolest 10-year-olds I've ever seen. And guess what they celebrated the party with? Pizza! My third story. It was the first time that I was going to be the feature at a place we called Brother Blues. Brother Blues' place was famous for people like me who wanted to do stories. And actually, Brother Blue was an Afro-American. And the first time I saw him, I was totally intimidated. And he said, what is your name? And I said, Robert. And he said, Robert. And that's how, ladies and gentlemen, I got the name Robert. So I'm up in front of this group. This is the first time that I've really done anything in front of this group. This is about 65 or 70 people. And I'm telling them a story which I call Life of the Party. And Life of the Party is a story about parties. And when I was 4 years old, I went to my best friend's birthday party. It was right down the street. And my mama took me down there. And she said, now Bobby, I want you to be my best sport. Oh Mama, I promise I will be. Well, by the time Howard got to his 13th present, I started screaming, the next one's mine! It's not fair that he should have all those presents and I don't have any. Well, I caught such a ruckus that the woman, Howard's mother, called my mother and took me away from there, kicking and screaming. I was never invited to another party. Bar mitzvahs came, confirmations came, nobody would have me. They'll make a ruckus. People were starting to get married when I was in my late teens and early 20s. Can't have him, he'll make a ruckus. So what did I do? I moved to New York, where nobody would know me. And nobody would know that I had made such a ruckus at a party. I would now be invited to parties. And I started getting invited to parties that were run by mostly females who were editors in various magazines. And one day, or one evening, this lovely woman walked in. And I said to myself, I've got to meet her. And I asked somebody her name. And they said, her name is Dominique. She was not my problem. But I walked over, my knees shaking, hoping she wouldn't see it. And she looked at me like I was taking up her space. And she said, well? And I said, well, I saw a Fellini movie last night. And she said, sum it up succinctly. Now, I'm groping for the word that I had used at the party. And I'm standing in front of these 65 people. And I cannot remember the word. I closed, forgetting the word, and somebody from the group came running up to me and said, that was brilliant! And I was hoping he was saying my monologue. He didn't. He said, forgetting the word, or not forgetting the word, but acting like you forgot the word, was totally brilliant. So the answer is, you never know what's going to please people and what's not. And by the way, the word was a word that I still don't know the meaning of. Existential.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.